What are you?
I literally don't know what I'm doing. Hello,
Nick,
everybody.
if you're wondering what was just happening, she played the 2-minute countdown, and
I
guess
know,
what? Didn't go
dancing and
live.
everything. There was no live. We weren't live. So anyway,
So,
sorry, but it's
hello
chaos
everyone.
already. Hi, everybody. I know you all know Nick, but Nick, here you are. Thank you so much for joining myself and Keith for what was going to be. We're going to keep this relatively short. We're certainly not going to go beyond an hour.
No.
But we really, really appreciate the time because we know you're very, very busy. So
Thank you so much, Andrea. Thank you so much, Keith. I'm very excited to be here and first time on your show, so excited
yeah.
about that. And yeah, it's an August Friday, so it's a great day.
Yeah, and we know you've got a busy life, both professionally and personally. So we are not going to keep you any longer than we need to. But it is great to have you. I had the absolute delight of sharing a breakfast with you, I think, in Dubai, and we had a little chat then. And I was delighted when I found out that you'd taken over, because I know we're going to talk about a couple of things that really, really interest me on this live stream, but we'll get to those in a minute. And everybody, we do have some things we want to talk to Nick specifically about, but please do obviously put your questions in the chat and hopefully we'll get to them. We'll bring up comments as we go. So Nick, we're going to start with just sorry, before we get into it, I will just frame this whole discussion by saying we know about the past and we're not going to get drawn into that. We might reference it now and then, but this isn't about what's gone on. But of course, when you're talking about the future, sometimes you have to talk about the past, but this isn't about all of that ugly stuff. So, and we're not going to get, if we start getting sucked in, I'm going to pull us back. But the first thing we do want to address, or we want to talk about, is about trust. Obviously, with what's happened, there's been a lot of trust lost for different degrees by different people. And I think certainly, or we think that, the challenge that you and the team have going forward is not just building the blockchain, but probably a bigger challenge is actually building the trust back for the community, but also, I guess, for new investors coming in, because they don't want a part of obviously anything that's gone on. So it'd be great to hear. I know you have talked about this on some live streams, but I think this is such a big issue for so many people. So can you talk to us just a little bit more about what you're doing to rebuild that trust and how you're taking that agenda forward?
Sure, that's a great question. So you made a statement there that made me think about the quote, like, those who don't learn from the lessons of the past are condemned to repeat them, and we certainly don't want that, right? So
yeah,
trust is hard to earn and very easy to lose. And so what we have to do right now is work on the earning process, and the only way to do that is to be very upfront and very transparent in everything we are doing. And that's what I've been trying to do. Pretty much, I think for the most part, I've averaged about 2 updates, about 2 updates a day on what's going on behind the scenes, etc. And literally, this behind the scenes is going to change to only the scene very soon. Already published sort of the DAO org model, etc. And we are not going to wait until like there's an incorporated DAO or whatever to actually start having that infrastructure, the organization, where the team is not just a team of like a business. That's very centralized. So my goal is to make this very decentralized, very much in the same vein as open source projects. So there are members of the community at large, etc. And it's very open. All the meetings are held in open. There are minutes. There's an agenda, so people can pop in and listen in on these meetings, etc. My sort of directive to the team is that meetings are going to be the exception, not the norm. So the norm is public by default. So by having all these conversations, etc., in public, also ensuring that all the financial details around all transactions are open and reviewable by everyone. It's a blockchain. Everything is there, for review. It's just a matter of giving people more context about a transaction. Like one could be transparent by saying, here's a list of transactions, but if you don't know what the details are around it, that's kind of not being that's being a little disingenuous, and I don't want to do that. So we'll provide all the details, etc. So I think it's a multi process area. We have to do things openly, build trust there. We have to get members of the community involved so that it is a collaborative effort. Do that, and ultimately, we have to make sure that there is due process for whatever's happened. I see comments every day by the hundreds on people like, do this, do this, do this. But as a professional leader, you don't act on a whim. You cannot do that. What you have to do is make sure that you follow the process. So the people on the team right now that are there, I have spoken one-on-one individually to all of them, and I have reached a level where I feel like, okay, I trust these folks and I'm going to continue with them. And until there is something that comes up that changes that, I don't see any reason why I should not trust them. So, this has sort of been a huge sticking point for the community. Like, just get rid of them, get rid of them, etc. But it's not quite so simple. If you want to be successful in this project, you have to do things by the book. We have to make sure that we look at all the facts. And right now, all the people that I'm working with, I trust them.
Well, put it this way, you have spoken, like you said, one-on-one with these people that are obviously the team, it's still the current team, but minus one. And, if you've had those one-on-one discussions, and if you've got that sense that you're satisfied that you're getting the results that you need, that everyone needs, obviously you can't be knowing every little detail, but you've got to do the investigations, the due course, and the really trying to have that sixth sense about are they actually telling you what you need to hear, or are they telling you the truth? And then, really like give it some thought and go forwards with, and if that's the case, well, then I'm sure you'll formulate a lot of trust and support from the community. But that's what it really, it's obviously a really hard thing but, within reason, the trust isn't broken with the people that are there per se, or,
Yeah. So
there is some issues, yes.
So think about it this way, right? What people want me to do is to just start from scratch, like just start with a clean slate. Well, there's such a thing as continuity. That's important. There's also, it doesn't make sense as a leader that if you've talked to people and you trust them and they're doing the right thing, what I have to do is make an educated decision. What you were talking about, the sixth sense around risk and all that. Now, keep in mind also that there is a lot of structure in place now that didn't exist before. There's going to be a lot of transparency before. So moving forward, that wasn't there before. So I feel like, people want absolutes. There are no absolutes in life. What you have is you have situations and you make the best of it. And right now I'm making the best of what I have with the people that are there. And I consider myself a fairly good read of people. And I feel like we can move forward right now. I also, if you look at the org structure of the DAO I've proposed, there's going to be more people coming on board here. So it's not like, oh, we're just going to continue with the same team as before. We are adding transparency. We are adding more people. And we have a vision, right? That's important to understand. We have a clear vision, and it's important for me that I trust the people on the team, and I do right now. So everyone I'm working with, I trust them, and so we're going to move forward that way.
And
that obviously means a lot.
Yeah.
Just a quick question from Darwin. The total on that, Chok, can you ask Nick, is he working with Jason directly?
All right. Yeah. So yes. So people need to understand what happened when this whole thing kind of blew up. It was really Jason and Adrian who did a bulk of the work, a lot of the work, in order to first secure the funds that we have right now, and then through long conversations with me, convince me that I had to take on this role, because I'm like, this is crazy, this is insane. I like, this is such a mess. Why would I step into this? Why would I want to do this? And they spent a lot of their social capital, if you will, convincing me that I had to step into this role. So yeah, I absolutely work with Jason directly.
Any idea why Jason hasn't come out and said anything publicly?
You'll have to ask Jason that. That's a question for him.
That's why it was just any idea why, like, because I think that's where just a lot of people feel a bit sort of, and it allows for speculations and stupid thoughts to come in when things aren't just put to bed, like come out and say a direct statement to people and just then you can either move on or deal with it.
So you have to also look at the fact that you have to take a temperature, and the temperature is right now. If I were him, I would also be very, very sort of wary about coming on a stream, because you're just gonna get crucified. Who wants to do that? Especially if they're just trying to get on and help with the current initiative.
Yeah, and I think obviously just picking up on a couple of comments here.
There we go. Yeah.
Jason, everybody related to BL needs to be kicked out. Nobody wants to be related to BL. And Nick, if you want to make this success, you have to leave Jason. So there's obviously like a bit of a blockage from the community perspective, still obviously around this, but completely take on board that.
So I'll take my lumps on that. Look, I'm trying to move this whole organization forward. I have to do it with the resources I have, the capital resources and the human resources. And I am going to do this by the book. I'm going to follow those two sacred words, due process. So the team that's there right now, including Jason, I trust them. I'm going to work with them. And I cannot have the court of public opinion guide my decisions. I have to go by facts and facts alone. So that's what I'm going to do.
And of course, your instincts to go with that as well. Like, if you sniff anything out that's just not right, that's not adding up.
Then, again, we have to follow due process. You have to follow due process, and that's the most important thing here. And right now, what I'm doing is working with the team to really get past this chaos that exists right now.
Yeah, and
we'll I'm sure Jason, when he feels he's ready, will step in front of a camera. But that's his prerogative, and I don't think it's right for everyone to just without due process just pass judgment.
I do completely agree. And what we've been lacking in this space, I don't just mean Vulcan, I mean the DeFi space, it is, we don't want to make it the same as the real world, because it's different and it's crypto and it's virtual and it's online and all of that, but there are no professional standards, and that's a huge issue by which so much scamming, etc., happens. So I completely respect, I think we all do, the fact that you're trying to bring in some professional standards here and do things as they should actually be done. That does mean investigation, and there was a question just up here. I'm trying to bring the questions up as they kind of that are related to this topic.
Sure.
I just want to go back to one that Miss Love asked. Nick, is the team doing anything to get the stolen monies from Brian? We know there's an investigation ongoing. Nick, do you have any feel for when that might be completed?
Yeah, so people need to understand that as of right now, there's not a legal entity. There is none.
No.
Right?
No.
So that's one of the things I have to do now. I have the green light. So get an entity in place. And I already suggested in a prior sort of update that what I'd like to do is create sort of a community special team that is focused on this. Because look, we could spend all our time focused on this, which means we are not going to move forward. So what I want to do is make sure that our priority first right now is to make sure that we live to fight another day, literally live to fight another day, right? And due process takes time. That's just how democracy and these things work. So let's get the right infrastructure in place, get the right team in place, and do what we need to do that. There is our urgent requirement is to make sure that the patient, I like to use the ER analogy. The patient, we need to do triage. We need to get this patient on the right track. And that's what I'm focused on, which does not. And, people parse these statements and take what they want to from it. What I'm saying is want to do this the right way. And that means it's a slow process, and you'll just. I
think you've covered all the bases really, really well on that topic so far. We don't need to talk about that anymore. We've had enough.
Absolutely.
But well done. Thank you for talking to the team, to the guys individually, and getting that feedback yourself and passing that on to us.
Yeah.
Because we don't get to see what's going on behind closed doors, and seeing the way that you're portraying that hopefully instill some confidence within the people that, there is a level of trust and that you're looking at all of the different things. And let's just leave it at that.
And as we get the DAO structure rolled out, the people in leadership positions, I expect that all of them will be here. I don't want to single out anybody. I want everyone to be treated equally and say, okay, each of you, we are all going to come here and we're going to tell the community about ourselves. And that's what we do. So there's going to be some new people also. Yeah.
Fantastic. We'll move on. I know, Keith, you're going to talk about projects, aren't you? If we just stress really quickly, because it's kind of talking about community and culture. Can you ask Nik why he's appointing community members in Vulcan Discord who are trigger happy to time out people? For example, Node SO loves to just time out people.
Yeah, the censorship is something that's really sort of irking people. But I know you've got to sort of put a refrain on disharmony, but the censorship issue is, it's a hard one, but
it's a hard balance.
So here's what I did. I basically told them to just remove everyone's moderation capabilities. And then I hired a team essentially to take over the Discord. And that lead is essentially going to gradually bring back the moderators after reviewing them. We will publish a policy. There isn't a very clear articulated policy on that. So that when people get banned or timed out or whatever, it happens by citing a policy point that you violated X right here. That's it. So it doesn't have to be ambiguous. It doesn't have to be subjective. It's very objective. You violated 1.3 of the policies. Okay, that's it. So again, due process. We'll try and do that. And there is going to be a whole new Discord, and we are going to start fresh with the new brand on that Discord. So we'll make sure that policy is in place, and we'll enforce that policy and go by that. There are channels we can have where people can have all the juvenile talk they want to, but for the most part, want to run this this is like, if we look at the vision, we have to attract some of the biggest brand names in the world of art, creators. So movie studios, music labels, museums, etc. Do you think any marketing person associated with any of these hops into a Discord and sees the kind of trash talk we have going on that they would want to be associated with it? No. So we just gotta maintain a level of professionalism there. That's important.
Sorry,
Greg
Keith,
decided to yell at us.
Greek's in the house. Hello, Greek. And
I know he put out his video talking about the team, but we've covered this a lot already. Everyone's heard all about it and what Nik's plans are, what he's actually doing, and that he's had those one-on-one conversations. And seriously, at the end of the day, no one's going to be 100% satisfied. But you've got to be happy with your 80% satisfied or something like that, and then just move on. at some point, you just have to be happy with what you get. You're not going to get everything that you want. It's and you got to put trust in Nik to be doing the right damn thing. And so just let him do his thing that he's doing. He's definitely taken the bull by the horns. He's doing all the right moves. He's doing those things. So unfortunately, we just have to let him do his due process and to go through it. Yes, I hate saying that myself. Yeah, I would rather just start with a clean slate. Yes. And I've even expressed that to Nik before the show. But the thing is, that's not necessarily just the way forwards. I understand those viewpoints, but it's just tricky. It just is. But Nik's doing it the right way. You're doing it the right way. I support you. So
I'll tell you what. I am accountable for my actions. So if I'm wrong, I will take the blame for it. I will take responsibility for it. I don't shirk responsibility. But the actions I take, I stand by them right now.
And that is, again, music to, I'm sure, my ears and everybody's ears.
I have no idea about this question.
I understand it. So what they're referring to is, will there be an exchange possibility, whether it's decentralized or centralized with RC1? With release candidate 1, essentially we are talking about activating the mainnet. Rebasing is starting, the incentive pools are starting, and you can move your unlocked or vested funds between wallets, and that's what you'll be able to do. So that's the answer is correct. Yeah, you will not have trading on RC1.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm not that stupid where I know what RC1 is, but it was just the fact of whether it had trading or not. I had no idea whether it did or not. So.
Okay, we've still got a lot of questions that I'm not going to pull up because I think
yeah.
Very well. Should we go on, Katie? We're going to pick up on projects, I think, and talk more about that side.
Yeah, well, like I was a person who started a community project within the Safe community. I've actually done it a few times now, and everything's still going. But like with the previous CEO, like just created so much controversy around certain things. Just basically look at this hand while I'm doing stuff over here, sort of thing. And has made our life extremely difficult. But that's okay. You just got to rise to the occasion and just move on. But with my project, I'm in essentially a refi project because we're actually got real world purpose with animals, with calves. So the main thing, like the blockchain, how you're talking about NFTs and things like that, artist stuff, that's all well and good. Yes. And I don't understand that field at all. So you're the one who knows all about that stuff. So
we'll come to that in a bit, though.
I'm certainly not going to preach about anything to do with that because it's just not me. NFTs, yes, I do have NFTs, but I don't understand the art side of how it works. But really, to get volume on a blockchain, I just can't see how you can't really be trying to get DeFi into the blockchain. Now, I understand that there's a couple of blockchains that are doing refi already, like Grove and Kyoto, and there may be others, I don't know, that are into the refi space. And, a lot of people say that's where a lot of the future is because it's mainly the refi is projects that have got real world utility, whether it be energy or, like in our case, animal ethics. But that seems to be the thing. But that's where the volume comes from, is in the DeFi space. And of course, on a blockchain, you need volume. So you really got to, are you intending on having a strong stance still to try and attract DeFi projects to whatever the new blockchain name will be?
Yeah. So Keith, with any new project, a blockchain especially, we need to pick an area of focus, which does not mean that we sort of discount other areas. I totally get what you're saying in terms of volume. In fact, I changed the rebasing model so it is volume driven, because that's how we can tell that the blockchain is actually delivering value, right? Like transactions are the ultimate arbiter, the ultimate measurement, if you will, of of value. So the reason I proposed the sort of blockchain of creators approach is by no means saying that we can't entertain DeFi projects or anything like that. It is a general purpose blockchain at the end of the day. But from a marketing standpoint, we have to pick messaging that allows us a chance to stand head and shoulders above others. The DeFi space is super crowded, and one of the main challenges there is until you reach a critical mass of tokens, what DeFi are you going to do, right? Like basically, you look at Uniswap, PancakeSwap, etc. They are successful because there is a critical mass of tokens of projects on there. So I feel like we can get there, but we have to go with low-hanging fruit right now and address pain points. I always say that if you're creating a startup, you can either create a vitamin or a painkiller. So a vitamin, nice to have, people will look the other way, but a painkiller, there is a huge pain point right now in the creative industry, music, movies, art in particular. There's pains that need to be addressed, and blockchain could solve them. And so this is the reason and the rationale why I chose this focus. It is more about positioning and the optics of this blockchain. How does the world view this? If we have a few successful DeFi projects on there, that's great. We'll also add those on there and continue to add them. But initially, a go-to market is very important. We have to get to some critical mass very quickly within the first six to 12 months. And with DeFi, that's going to be super challenging because people have so many established alternatives. Like there's AVAX, there's Polygon, etc. And so how do you get past them in terms of volume? Like that's the challenge. So I hope you see where I'm coming from on that.
The only other, one other aspect that I'm doing, because Calf token is moving from Binance to Grove blockchain, and like you should see this as a positive thing, because I've always stated that I will move Calf to Vulcan if it's number one a blockchain, and number two that it's doing what a blockchain is meant to do. It's all stable and doing its thing, and by moving to Grove, it means that I have a period of time now to help build my community. Over there, I've got a lot more community. I'll have more community support with live streams, with the management and, marketing stuff. There's some different incentives because it's a refi blockchain and I've got a refi project. So that's where it has different advantages. Yeah. Now, having said that, is that I don't ever see myself putting a token back onto Binance. Binance is just Binance. I just don't get any advantage out of Binance. It is just what it is. But I certainly would still like to put something onto Vulcan or whatever the name is, if it just does those two things that I've always said. But the advantage is to the whatever the blockchain is going to be called, is that if you get projects that do things like me, go somewhere else, formulate a community, and then release an arbitrage token on your blockchain, well, guess what? You also get exposure to the community as well. Yeah. And so that is a very strong point, that you're not stuck within your little circle of people within the, the ex-SAFU community. You've got essentially some marketing being done for you to help the blockchain to go forwards with projects that are going to do what we're going to do. But so that's what I've said it to the community, but it purely is dependent upon those two factors. Obviously, you need a blockchain, and it's got to be functioning. You got to have some volume and tradable and stable and just doing what a blockchain's meant to do. I can never be the first project on there, but I could certainly bring community eyes to the blockchain by, that's why I'm here doing live streams and, talking to you openly about what we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we want projects like yours, and in fact, what we want to do is look at the cross pollination that goes between all different domain audiences, and so I think that'll happen pretty organically, and I'm excited about that. So
yeah.
Just a quick question here from RJVA, who I think also asked, but I can't remember, it might have been somebody else, why aren't we asking you more questions about tokenomics and stuff? And just to clarify, we thought Nik, you've been on quite a few live streams recently, and the tokenomics have been discussed in detail, and there's lots of references. People can go back and watch those live streams. We just thought we'd come from slightly different angles today with you and maybe ask questions, certainly the couple I'm going to get to in a minute that maybe haven't been discussed so much. But this is a quick question. When booster sales begin, will trading also happen? And RGBA goes on to say, I asked because I already have 40K worth of people ready to come in.
Can I just ask one little point to that before Nik talks? With the boosters, are they still just like set as $150 and you can buy as many as you like? Have you like big bags of that are able to buy lots of boosters and inflate their amount that they can withdraw and hurt the LP because of that? Have you taken that into account?
Yeah. So if it isn't clear to everyone yet, my model, the way I operate is put out a proposal, let the community give feedback, consolidate all that feedback into what are some clear salient points that people want, address it, and revise the proposal and present it again. So case in point, the tokenomics, let's just go there. I've heard very clearly about the fact that the transaction-based rebasing is great. People are supporting that, but they're also concerned about what happens when we really blow the performance out of the water. We are exceptional, etc. Why can't we have that reflected in the results? So I spent most of the night working on a worksheet, which I hope I can release today, but that presents a revised picture that that remodels the tokenomics slightly. The overall model doesn't change, but the levers and the values change to adjust that. So I think the community is going to be very pleasantly surprised and happy with the tweaks I'm making, because it does allow. So when there is an epoch where the performance is much higher, it will be reflected in an increased rebase for the rebase value increases. So that's what people want. Like, so there are some things that people want that I cannot do because of due process, but there are some things that are well within our control, and I want the community to understand that that's how things work. So with the tokenomics, that's there, and your questions specifically, Keith, about the boosters. So I've heard that again and again, and people doing the math, right? So obviously, I'm not going to ignore that. We have some time. We have more than, 6 weeks before the boosters go on sale. So you got a little bit of time to figure out that model. And one of the things I'm seriously considering, which is a term that you're probably familiar with, being in the DeFi space, is a bonding curve potentially for the price, etc., or the vesting. So there are several levers there on the boosters that we have the price, we have the volume cap, and we have the vesting percentages, right? So we can tweak those and figure out what. So I have to run some simulators to say that, okay, if someone's holding, I don't know, 100K worth of tokens or whatever, and it costs them 15K to get to 100%, sort of, what does that mean? I need to model that out. And my invitation to anyone in the community who's good at spreadsheets is to create some models and help me out with that, because otherwise that's basically all I got to do is figure that out, and then based upon that come up with the plan. But the booster plan will be designed to be very safe and also very attractive.
And that's all that people need to hear, is what you've just said. So thank you very much for that.
No, that's so
just
positive.
a really direct question here. Why would someone build on Vol or whatever the blockchain
or whatever it is?
So this is why we have a focus, right? So if the question is any project, I don't have a good answer. But if it's a project that targets creators, well, we are going to lay out the red carpet for you and we are going to build in right into the protocol such things as standards-based metadata. So for example, museums use a standard called linked art. You can Google that. It's linked, like LinkedIn, and art. So we'll incorporate that. That doesn't exist. There is no way right now to curate on Ethereum, for example, and search by metadata all the artworks that potentially are by one artist. It doesn't exist. That second, we're going to create protections around intellectual property. So build into these contracts the licensing terms under which an NFT artwork is available. We are going to build in security by making sure that the media files are cryptographically signed by artists, right? We are also going to make it tamper-proof after the sale. So for example, on Ethereum right now, let's say that I create an NFT and you buy it, I still, as the artist, have the right to go change the picture to one of poop or something like that. So I can do that and make your investment completely useless. That shouldn't exist. That's terrible. That's for the buyer and the artist. So we are going to focus on creating so much, let's say, gravity for creators that they will not look elsewhere but our chain to build a project on. And I want to get all the NFT centric projects on here.
You've got some enthusiasm about it, haven't you?
Yeah, and this is something we did want to just expand on a little bit more about this blockchain being for the arts, and this, for me personally, literally makes my soul sing, because I'm a musician by heart. Music is my thing, but you are talking more broadly about the arts. As I know, we've just talked about art as a form.
Well, I'm talking visual art, performance art, music, film, all of the arts. Yeah.
Well, listen, I'm married to a conductor who runs an orchestra here in the UK, and we're like, oh my god, we could make this orchestra the first one to do something on the blockchain. What could that be? And at the minute, the problem is it's not a money making thing. It's philanthropic. And I think that there's something important there, that there may be people watching this live stream or have heard you talk about the arts. And if they're not into the arts as such, if art, they don't feel it's their passion, I think it's a bit of a leap of faith for them, because it's such a different approach. And we're so used to, with, Seifu Go, Seifu X, Vulcan, it's all about what money can we make. And this, what you're proposing, I feel is it's a different look, it's a different angle to a blockchain. And yeah, I think that there is money to be made, but it's about so much more than that. So can you talk to us about this passion you have? Because I'm sharing this passion.
Absolutely. So for the past 18 months or so, I've been working on creating the Nifty Dreams DAO, which is close to approaching 5,000 artists globally. And I've talked one-on-one with over 1,000 artists to understand, what the problems in the space are. And what I do is I see a lot of opportunity. 400 years ago, we had a renaissance, an art renaissance. It created amazing art that we still appreciate today. It was also a very lucrative time for artists. Now, 400 years later, I believe it is time for the NFT art renaissance again. So the thing is, in all this time, artists have had to deal with this moniker of starving artists. We have salaries for everybody: accountants, doctors, mechanics, whatever. Why are artists always asked, well, what's your real profession? That's wrong. So
I wish my husband could hear this, honestly, because he gets asked all the time about that.
So when I created the DAO, it was with a very simple mission to make it possible for every artist in the world to make a sustainable income through art, period. And my goal is that every artist targets around $50,000 a year as sort of their target income. So we have to start somewhere, right? And so I have been working with artists. I've visited, villages in the Amazon rainforest to see indigenous artists at work, etc. Because I consider all of these artists, not just artists in developed countries with technology, at their fingertips. So what I've learned is this, that the challenge to date has been that art has only been the domain of the wealthy with discretionary income, which is why it has been so siloed, right? But blockchain, Web3, the decentralization gives us an opportunity to completely open that up. So what we don't need is 10,000 art collectors collecting, 1,000 pieces of art. What we need is 100 million art appreciators, each just getting one piece of art because it looks good in their living room or whatever display they have, etc. So that's the model I am striving to create. There's a secondary thing there. In the past decade, mostly, social media has wrought upon us a world where we are very highly polarized. We are finding the worst in people, as evident from the comments here. We are looking at it in a very cynical way. Art has the possibility to create a much kinder and gentler world while creating wealth. And this is a narrative that most people don't understand because they only look at art as like pictures, etc. But there is a deeper emotional thing that you can do, which is why if you look at the great movies, the great music, etc., it moves us, and people spend lots of money on that. This can be harnessed. This can be captured, and we can be that blockchain that captures this. There is immense wealth to be made, folks. You just need to direct attention, and you need to make the opportunities available. But whatever money you're seeing in DeFi right now, it is going to be a pittance compared to what is possible when the art machine is unlocked.
Yeah. And you know what?
I'm going to turn more calves into art.
I'm
going to become a bloody artist now.
Beating fast when you're talking like this, Nick. I think it's so exciting. We've got our friends here, Cosmic Force, of course. It's all about being creative. Love the vision. And I just say to anybody two things. If you're listening to this and going, yeah, whatever, it means nothing to me. First of all, imagine your life without the arts.
Music.
So as Nick said, movies, music, any artwork, paintings, sounds, whatever it is, just think of the impact that art has on your life. But secondly, we were always told that Vulcan, as it was launching, it was special because it was unique. I think we found out perhaps it's not as unique as we were led to believe. But anyway, we moved on from there. But this is truly unique. So even if you don't buy into the whole art space and you don't think it's for you, buy into the fact that Nick and the team are going to be doing something, and we're going to be part of something so unique that's never been done. And it is immensely exciting. I literally
sort of whether
wait.
we like it or not, we're along for the ride.
So I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example on Ethereum right now. The art space is totally dominated by marketplaces like there's OpenSea, Foundation, etc. But they got it all wrong, and which is why they're flatlining almost. So we basically looked at how can we fix this problem, and the problem turns out that those marketplaces force artists to do three things that they absolutely hate: sales, marketing, and social media. An artist prefers to be creating art, whatever their medium is, not marketing themselves, etc. So we introduced this project called Art Packs, where we took the success of NBA Top Shot, of gamifying basketball moments, and have applied it to art. And as of yesterday, we just launched our advanced minting page. It's amp.artpacks.io. But we are essentially doing an experiment for 13 weeks, where each week we do a drop. You can go and buy one of 250 packs, and that's it. You're done. You get 5 high-quality curated artworks from that. So
and that's fantastic. And actually, everybody should follow you on Spaces, because I heard your broadcast, was it from yesterday, when you were talking about the drops and all of that, and it's so interesting. And I just think it's incredible. I'm very, very excited. We do have a quick question here. Legendary Bastard, $4.99. Thank you very much for your super chat. Is it possible to add taxes to the blockchain for some time in order to build liquidity and then remove it after once we reach a certain number?
Okay, let's break that down. Let's break that down, because this is a question. This is an idea that many people think of taxes being right. First of all, when you have a blockchain protocol, the standard is that the team has a cap table and allocates tokens for the treasury. So how does the protocol fund itself? Because the protocol has to fund operations. There's servers to be run, things to be security, etc. Right? So you have token allocations for that. A tax is essentially getting back tokens from transactions. Unless you're using that to make the currency deflationary, it actually has no value, because instead of waiting on taxes, I have right now allocated the needs of the protocol for 4 years and already allocated those tokens. We don't need to extract a tax from that. Second, how are you going to build liquidity if the tax is in the very token for which you're trying to provide liquidity? You see the circular argument there? It's not feasible. If you were collecting tax in another currency, that makes sense. But if you're just getting tax in your own currency, where does the liquidity come from? Liquidity requires, by definition, that you have capital other than your currency. So that's the reason why we can't and won't do taxes. There's a third reason also. Centralized exchanges hate them. They do not want anything to do with any protocol that has a tax.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks very much, and thanks for the super chat.
But it will just be so difficult to get volume with any sort of tax structure, and that alone, like it would just, it's just so hard. I know the safe food community is really sort of bought into taxes and being okay, but seriously, on a blockchain level, like if you can't compete with Binance, etc., like you're really going to be up against it. You've got to have some sort of competitive model, my opinion.
Yeah. Teddy One has a question: what marketing plans are coming or in process for the blockchain?
Well, you're seeing things play out right here. We don't start with tactics. We start with strategy. Strategy was the DAO structure. So if you notice in there was a box under the Strategic Council for Marketing. So that's going to have a marketing lead. Guess what? They're going to be responsible for coming up with the plan. You don't have one person do everything there. What I need to do is make sure that I have the right people in the right boxes, if you will, and then delegate. So you find domain experts and do that. So there will be a marketing plan. It's going to come, but we are still at, like, I started off at the 20,000 foot level. I've brought us down now to about the 10,000 foot level. Let's get to 5,000 feet where there's people assigned, etc. And then we'll get down to ground level where there's actual tactical stuff happening. But
it's also projects like mine that are going to go far afield and bring those communities sites, as long as obviously you've got a blockchain that's going to be up to the grade, so to speak.
Yeah. So we have an ecosystem council.
It to be.
Yeah, we have an ecosystem council where we have a partners box. So we're going to have someone who's assigned, whose job it is to work with projects such as you, etc.
Fantastic. VJ's asking, can we create a layer 2 blockchain through our Vault layer 1?
Someone else would have to do that. It wouldn't be us. But there is no need for it. Layer 2 blockchains exist if there's a purpose for it. They exist for Ethereum because Ethereum has high transaction costs and is slow. So if you create a layer 2 to address that problem.
Yeah.
There must be something about this question
Chris
about
pizza. A very important thing
that you know about.
You're a fan of pineapple on pizza, though, aren't you, Nick? I think.
Look, I'm vegetarian, and pineapple with jalapenos on pizza just tastes great. Chris, you will live. You will enjoy it, and I suspect you will come back and say that, hey, look, I'm a convert, and this. You don't have to be a convert, but I'm going to add this as a staple to my pizza selections.
I love.
So do you still have dairy?
Yes, I'm not vegan. I'm vegetarian. Yeah,
I know that, but I don't know where the crossover point is. But if you have dairy, that's good, because that's obviously, we don't have the dairy, but we deal with the dairy calves. So
I love eggs. I will not give up eggs under any circumstances.
Morning Day, do we get to vote the new name of blockchain, assuming there are some proposed names listed out, and to narrow down the final one? Yes. And somebody else did ask about the name. I'm sorry I bypassed your question, but if we can just talk briefly about the name and how that's coming along, and ideas and blah blah blah.
Yeah, so we have a Discord channel where we've been looking at people suggestions. I'm sorry I couldn't respond to each one individually, but all of those we have collated those and are using them as incentive. So here, I mentioned this at another space. The moment we do any kind of vote, what's going to happen is that domain squatters, name squatters will go and register all of those and make it impossibly difficult for us to actually use that.
Yeah.
So I'm afraid
Yeah.
in this case, you're just going to have to. We've taken the input, and we have to come up with a name. And if everyone absolutely hates it, we'll do something about it. But I have a feeling everyone's going to love it. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, that's great. AA just joining, as I understand it, launch 1st September. Nothing has changed. Aim is 10 apps for launch, sex end of September, and concerted effort for artists, authors, musicians, streaming, etc. Primed for bull run. Absolutely, I think he's just
just reiterating the roadmap. We go active with mainnet RC1 on September 1, and then post the audit, we actually launch mainnet. So the aim for 10 apps being on there is when we launch mainnet without an RC moniker on it, which means that between the period of September 1 to whenever we actually trigger mainnet, we will onboard those. So they will be part of mainnet as we go, so that when we hit mainnet full, they'll be. Honestly, I feel like hitting mainnet full will be a non-event, because really it's just a checkbox on an audit statement. Otherwise, we are business as usual.
Yeah. Okay. Cosmic Force is agreeing. Pizza with pineapple all the way. Very important to get that out.
Yeah, I will not call it the pineapple chain, all right? So you have my assurance on that.
Yeah, don't do that, for goodness sake.
And gee, if we can be the investors who help create this amazing opportunity to impact the art world, that's huge. I couldn't agree more. And Nick, I do have a challenge to you, looking at the broader arts. Orchestra on the blockchain. How do we do it? What do we do? How are people going to invest? We'll come back to that in a few weeks, but there you go.
I have some ideas on that.
Oh, but it is so exciting. The whole.
Nick, can you just tell me how to make money? Shortcasts, questions like that. I'll just.
Well, give it time. We'll be there. Now, Nick, we're kind of coming towards the end, because we said we'd go for an hour, but I do have another one of my passions.
We can go a little over. It's fine.
Thank you. Yeah. Sorry to monopolize with all the things I want to talk about, but women in crypto. Now, I know you were talking about this. You mentioned this on your Spaces live yesterday, because one of your drops for your art pack is the Queens of Crypto, I think, or something like that. Yeah. Obviously, this is important to me, as I'm a girl, and again, there might be men in the stream that are kind of going, oh God, this doesn't apply to me either. Can I just make it very clear? Women are missing from this space, and women can make fantastic investors. So if you had a shop on the high street and 98% of the people coming into your shop were men, wouldn't you ask, why aren't the women coming in? So we are completely missing out if we're not addressing this. But Nick, I know this is one of your absolute passions as well. We spoke about it in Dubai briefly, but can you tell us a little bit? I have tried to lead a little bit in this space, but to get the ladies involved is incredibly difficult, because this is a horrible space to be in if you're a woman, and it's as plain as that. We get harassment, we get condescension, and I've got to make it clear that most people listening to this will think, what the heck is she on about? And it is a minority, but it's still, that minority is so vocal, it makes it so difficult. So talk to us a little bit about that.
So I can tell you, as a dad of 2 daughters, that I'm obsessed with bringing gender equality to the tech space in general, and the crypto space specifically. And for all the men who says, oh, it should be merit-based, I agree with you. It should be merit-based, but it should be the fact that you need to understand the concept of privilege. Just like there is racial privilege, also there is gender privilege. And if all the actions are taken by men who favor men, etc., that creates an aura of privilege and makes it very hard for even highly qualified, highly skilled women to break into the space. Yeah. So we ought not to be doing anything to say that, oh, let's get less qualified women in because they're women. No, all it needs is making sure that the opportunity that's afforded is equal, and make sure that we have zero tolerance on any kind of harassment or things like that essentially make it hard for women to even open their mouths, or speak in that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the culture that I'm looking to build. So what I did at the very onset is I created an organization called Try Crypto. That's TRY Crypto. It's still there. So it's an organization of women. And one of the things that we kind of were almost taking off at the same time the market was going down, so we couldn't get capital. So it's on hiatus at the moment, but it's going to come alive again because we had worked on this project called Crypto Queens that you alluded to, which honors the greatest contributions of women in cryptography. So now, coincidentally, I hadn't thought about this, but drop number 7 of Art Packs is when Art Packs will be live on our protocol here. That drop is called Womanhood. And that's the drop in which Crypto Queens will be launched here also. So simultaneously, Ethereum and here. So so this is basically gonna be great because it gives an opportunity for the Try Crypto team to be rejuvenated and with its mission to make the crypto space more sort of gender balanced. I personally have been sort of the primary, like the first investor in Surge Women, for example, that is doing great work. And have supported many other women-led organizations. I just want to make sure that there's equal opportunity. That's all,
That's fantastic. And one of the things that always irked me slightly with the previous management, shall we say, especially when we were out in Dubai, all of the marketing around Safer as it was then was all about fast cars and naked women and and just, well, scantily clad women, shall we say. And, I don't want to sound petty and all that, but that doesn't appeal necessarily to women. I mean, I like fast cars, but it's not the be all and end all. I want to see other stuff. So, but I guess that's all part of the culture you were talking about and, a different brand going forward. So, fantastic. Thank you, Nik. That's music to my ears, all of it. We've got a couple of questions just want to pick up on. So Darwin the Turtle asked Nik why he is not in the multi-sig.
Yeah, working on that. It'll happen. One of the things is as we are going through this transition, I still, if you recollect, my team was the consulting team that was actually contracted to build the blockchain, right? So there might be a slight conflict of interest there if I'm on the multi-sig paying, that. So we'll take some time. We'll get it done. Like I said, it comes back to the 3 co-founders that are there. I trust them right now, and we are having conversations and we are making good rational decisions.
So your bills have doubled.
Sorry,
so your bills have doubled all of a sudden.
Well, I'm not taking like right now all the work I've done, etc. I'm taking no pay for it. Zero. So
yeah. Nik, we've got a couple of people asking about this. So how is talks going with the leader of the biggest gaming community in the Southeast Asia? And also I think Biz is asking about the same. You mentioned gaming partnership and a project you're in talks with. How close are to closing those deals?
So the talks are going really well. She's very excited. But guys, this was 3 days ago that I first mentioned it.
Why isn't it done?
So we'll it's moving forward. We'll have those conversations. Just give it a little bit of time.
Dev time just it's amazing how it just moves in its own pace. It's
interesting question for Morning Day. Nik, I'm curious whether Midjourney affect the artists. I suppose AI in general, is it considered as a competitor to the artists?
Yeah, so there's a big conversation brewing in the art world around the impact of generative art based on AI, Midjourney and others also, So, and there's also a huge, if you go to like Tezos and look at like Object, the marketplace, there's a huge amount of AI art also. A lot of it is hot garbage. It's people who are trying to just make a coin without putting any effort into it. But there's some really good AI art also. So I think this is more a question, not just about art, it's about society in general and the impact of the rapid evolution of AI into our lives. Like this past, year, it's like literally come out of nowhere. And all of a sudden, like you look at ChatGPT for so many applications, etc. So I think it will settle over time. If you recollect back in time, there was when cameras were introduced, it was the same thing, right? Like who needs a portrait anymore? But portraits are still being done,
True.
So this will be a debate that will go on for a bit.
Yeah, fantastic. Daniel Prado's in the house. Hello, Daniel. How are you? The ladies of Worldwide agree with Nick. Well, of course they do. We do have a lot of ladies in our community. Some are very quiet, some are a little bit more vocal, but I would love us to, now we have the leadership that's absolutely encouraging us ladies, then I think we can do great things, ladies. So watch this space. Let's see where we go with this.
Andrea, let's have a space or a stream where we get the women to come online and kind of talk about what they would like to see changed about our ecosystem. I'd love to hear out. Yeah.
Right, we're going to do that, ladies. I'm going to be calling you very soon. Let's get on. That's fantastic, Nick. Thanks for that. Let's have a look. Almost at the end of our questions, Nick. Are you planning work with PayPal using their stablecoin in our blockchain?
Yeah. So ultimately, as we roll out the DEX, etc., we will have to decide which stablecoin we'll support on there, etc. PayPal is relatively new into the space. What we have to do is figure out with these new entrants whether they're opportunistic and just wanting to make a buck out of what's going on. Because remember, for the longest time, these companies were crypto hostile. They literally just froze your funds, blocked your accounts, etc.
Yeah.
So what we need to do is give them some time, because people can change, businesses can change. We need to give them some time to understand what that really means. Is it just superficial, or is it real, and are they buying into the sort of Web3 ethos completely? I don't know that they will, but let's find out. So I wouldn't hurry into it. There are organizations like Circle, etc., that have been around and are more decentralized than crypto native. I would first look at them before I go to PayPal, but I wouldn't say no to them. I would want to study them more.
Fantastic. And Darwin the Turtle, I think this is the last question we have at the moment. Maybe we've got another couple of minutes if anybody's got an emergency question. But it's asked Nick, when the company incorporates, does that mean we will know the income mods will be making along with details of their job?
Even more than that, I'm working, look, a DAO means open and transparency. I'm working on creating a budget, and everyone's salary will be known, everyone's job requirements will be known, etc. So mods are just part of that. So yeah,
we can't ask for more than that.
I like if you're taking an income from the DAO members will know what that income is.
Fantastic. Can't ask for more than that. I think we've got to the end of our questions that we have in the, unless we've missed some, but I think we've kind of picked them up as we've gone along. Keith, have you got any more questions for Nick, or just like a closing minute or so? I don't know.
No, well, I'm just really impressed with, obviously Nick is always well presented and structures his words in a professional way. But I know that, there's a lot of doubt in the community. Yes. Obviously there's a lot of people that are feeling scorned. Yes. There's obviously some people that are still hanging around, that are in the team that maybe have something. Yes. Who knows? But you've put your right foot forward. You've said the right things. You're doing the right actions. Like, seriously, guys, I don't know what else a fella's supposed to do. There is only so much you can do. You are doing it. And like you said, you're doing all the checks and balances to ensure that you're doing everything to make it as safe as possible, as good as possible. When at the end of the day, like, without your help and support and you doing, we wouldn't even have a bloody blockchain at the moment. So seriously, true. Like, we need you. Your help is the only damn reason why anyone even has anything or any chance of getting anything. So, like, people have just got to start cutting it out and realize that they've got to start supporting, as long as Nick obviously keeps showing the right hand, not like doing stupid shit, which of but you've got to stand up and do the right. Obviously you get the Australian farmers talk here, but you've got to stand up and just do the right stuff. That's all you need to do. And you have your it's not all about talk, it's about doing, like, and you seem to be doing all the right things, and I just hope the community can actually see that stuff and just sort of understand that you're only going to be, some people are only going to be 80% satisfied, and that's all you're going to get. Unfortunately, you're just not going to get everything 100%, and you've just got to accept it and move on. Otherwise, just shut up and deal with it, because it's what it is, unfortunately. So I like the way you've presented yourself, Nick. I've always seen your live streams and seen the way that you've composed your words and everything, and it obviously comes with high intellect and doing, and history and knowledge, and you've got base behind what you're saying, and it's important words for people to actually listen to what you say and realize that you're doing the right thing for whatever it is that's going forward with this, the start of the blockchain. So hats off to you.
Thank you.
Just
fantastic.
Thank you.
Keep doing your thing. That's all I can say.
I really appreciate that. I'll be the first to admit that I'm imperfect. I don't know everything, but I'm willing to surround myself by people who I can learn from. And I will make mistakes. And when I make mistakes, I will apologize for them, correct them, and move forward. This is all I can do as a leader is. And like you said, I can't make everyone happy. That's just life. Like, you can't make everyone happy. If any of my decisions are polarizing and they are like deal breakers for you, I'm very sorry. I still love you and would love for you to be part of this. But I have to lead. I cannot be like a little reed in the wind that just blows over by whatever the public sentiment is. I have to be principled. I have to use facts and good judgment in my decision making. So that's what I'm going to do. And I don't certainly never just tell people to blindly trust me. But you look at facts and you look at actions, not words. Look at deeds, And so I'm gradually bringing the openness and the transparency to this, and just trying to make sure that we can move forward in a positive way.
Obviously the top wallets is a thing. Any news on this question?
So actually that's underway right now. We are kind of isolating like which are the wallets that need to be KYC'd, etc. And one of the things that one of the techniques we are going to use is like ideally we would do everything before September 1, but some things are just not practical to be done. So my solution for that is essentially to escrow anything that's in doubt. So hello, that's so
this
basically
is what you have to deal with, Nick.
Very cool. So if there's a wallet that is suspect, the funds are there, the wallet's on chain, the rebasing, vesting, everything occurs, except it is untouchable. It is locked until it is unlocked, not by decree by one person. We will have a multi-sig and have a rule around it where the Treasury Council has clear policy on how those wallets will be unlocked. So what we don't want to do is catch an innocent bystander in this process. You don't want that, right? So you want the guilty wallets to be removed, but at the same time, if someone has genuinely put in their money and it's a top 10 wallet, we can't screw them over. So we'll have a process that says that, okay, fine, we will make sure the KYC is done, but until then, the funds, the coins are escrowed and they'll be released pending that.
Meet Thor.
I think Thor's gorgeous, isn't it? Honestly, we spend our time talking about calves and goats, and it's gorgeous. Just this final question, I think, Nick, and then we will close it up. So, Nick, are you open for OpenSeas and other marketplace work with you using our blockchain?
I think open would be the biggest understatement ever. I welcome them with wide open arms and saying, please, like whoever, So that's the goal, right? That's the part of our ecosystem that we want to build, is we want to get stellar projects that are on other protocols and say, come on over here. The water is warmer and the air is nicer. And look, our community is really well behaved.
Yeah. Yes, we are going to be well behaved. Jamie P says, awesome stream. Thank you, guys. Excited where this is headed. Love your goat. Keith, of course we love the goat. You should join us on a Monday morning for our live streams. We have goats, calves, everything. And I just want to finish with our friends Cosmic Force. Great energy, Nick. Thanks to Chalk and Keith for to the point fantastic show. You're very, very welcome, but it's been made extremely easy by Nick. And Nick, I just want to add to what Keith said and absolutely underline everything that Keith said. We couldn't hope for, more than you coming on and being absolutely transparent with us, and that's exactly what we're getting. And I've worked with a lot of top leaders. I work in higher education in the UK, and I spend a lot of time with vice chancellors and all that kind of palaver. But what I've seen today is absolutely clear leadership and exactly what we need. It's professional, it's transparent, and honestly, to add to what Keith said, we cannot ask for more in terms of having a bright future. So I'm so excited about where this is heading, and I just hope others that aren't quite with us yet can slowly just gather. And these things take time sometimes because we've been through tough times, but guys, the signs are incredible, and I'm very, very excited. So
this isn't broken here.
I just want to say hello to Odie. Hi there, Odie. And again, lots of positive comments coming in. Leon Decord is a great supporter of Carl. Thank you, Leon. We love to see you here. So, Nick, thank you. And I'm sure we'll see you again soon, but
absolutely. I love chatting with the community. I love chatting with the community leaders. And so I would love to be welcomed back again. But right now I got to go work on a spreadsheet and revise that model.
And be on a live stream while the goat's getting fed.
Yeah, of course. Listen, thank you everybody for being here.
It is real.
Okay.
Thank you
so much, Nick.